Okay, so our first question is this is question number 7 from the SAT practice test number 1. I'm gonna add the link in the description for this test. You can also download this from the SAT website, I suppose. All right, so this is number 7 right here. It looks very complicated and scary, right? But basically, it says here that the formula above gives the monthly payment M. So that means it's solving for M because it gives the monthly payment M needed to pay off a loan. So you have a loan in P, and then at the R rate, so meaning your rate of interest is in there, and then over a period of n months. So it's like a long-winded description, but it's a really clear description. So technically, what this the one is just a formula for M. When you know your loan and when you know how many months you're gonna pay for it, and then what's your rate, and so it gives you your monthly payment. Now, the instruction here is which of the following gives P in terms of N, R, and N. So when they say gives P, so instead of M equals, they want it to be P equals. Okay. All right. So let's review this. This is actually a relatively easy problem. So I'm gonna use this problem right now. I'm gonna use something very simple first. Okay. So take for example, if you have this equation, y equals 2/3 x. So this is solving for y in terms of x. But what about if I want, why don't you solve for x in terms of y? Okay, so I wanted to solve for x in terms of y. So this is y equals a fraction times x. So remember, if this is fraction numerator denominator, to make this one x, you really just have to multiply this this expression right here by the reciprocal of this fraction, right? If you multiply that one by 3/2, well, that will cancel out because it's going to become 6 over 6x, right? Well, if you multiply the right side by 3/2, then you need to multiply the left side as well by 3/2 to keep the equality. So now you will have 3/2 y equals, well, you're going to have 6 over 6x, or in other words, x. You technically just solve for that. Okay, so if you have, so basically if you have a variable here, you don't have any other things being multiplied by a fraction, you just multiply that by the reciprocal, and there you go, you will technically just have whatever that variable is. Okay, so let's try another one. All right, let's try something like this first. Okay, so if I say D equals negative 1/6 um, M, okay? And I want to solve M in terms of D. So therefore, I'm just gonna multiply this by, well, I want this one to be a positive M. So as if this is negative, I need to multiply this by another negative number, but reciprocal of that, 6 over 1. So therefore, I'm gonna have to multiply the other side by 6 over 1 as well. So therefore, on the left side, you have negative 6D equals, well, this negative and this negative 1 will cancel out, that 6 and 6 will cancel out, so therefore that's your M. So you technically just solved, you rewrote this equation into M in terms of D. This is basically what you call literal equation. So now let's go back to this actual problem, okay? So in your actual problem, you have this big equation expression right here in terms of P, but really you just want the P. But if you look at this is one whole, isn't this the whole big fraction right there? Okay, so really, if you multiply this fraction by the reciprocal of that fraction, that meaning this becomes your new denominator, a numerator, and that becomes your denominator. And then you also multiply the other side with that. Okay, so therefore, what will that look like? Well, this will, if you multiply, I'm not gonna write it because it's really big. It's long winding in here, but basically this is all the numerator denominator that becomes your new numerator. So this becomes multiplied to m. So therefore, that would look like letter B, right? Because you see this numerator, that was the same denominator here. this numerator is the same that's denominator there. So therefore, your answer here is B. Okay. I hope this helps. Let me know if it makes sense. Otherwise, I can give another video.